welcome to yet another episode of OKS Talks brought to you by OKS Cryptocurrency Exchange, live on your darling station, Coin News Extra TV. So I'm your uncle as usual for this show, me, Uchomo Harry. So we are going to be talking about an interesting topic. Every week we come here with amazing topics and amazing guests. So today we have an amazing topic, and also we have two guests who are so much knowledgeable about this topic. We are talking about all about DeFi. So we're going to be talking about decentralized finance, that's DeFi. So let me welcome our guest right away. Who are going to be joining me talking about this topic. First on the list is Victor Ugochukwu, head of content advanced blockchain. You're welcome, Ugochukwu.
Hi, Eugene. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. You're welcome. Also joining him is Philip Reddy. Philip is a community leader, Spartan. You are welcome, Philip.
G'day, mate. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. You're welcome. Thank you very much. So our audience, you know how we do it on the show. This topic ready to yes, Twitter at OKS. That's OKX. So it's they have from OKS to OKX. So thank you very much. Very shortly we're going to be diving into the discussion proper. But for now, we go on discussion proper. Welcome back to the show. It's still OKS Talks, brought to you by OKS Cryptocurrency Exchange, live on Coin News Extra TV, that's CNETv. So today we're talking about all about DeFi. So I have two amazing guests. So let's start with, let's talk around what DeFi is. I know DeFi has been a buzzword for a long time. I know a lot of people. Let's get to know from our guest point of view how they understand DeFi. So let me start with Philip. How would you describe DeFi?
All right. So my interpretation of DeFi, DeFi is basically short term for decentralized finance, which uses blockchain and smart contracts to eliminate the need for any trusted entities. And this basically facilitates a digital relationship, and it's pretty much the backbone of cryptocurrency. And it removes for the need for financial institutions and any central authority. So it's all programmed within smart contracts. And the idea of DeFi was referred to as open finance, which is the original idea of decentralized finance. So that's pretty much DeFi in a nutshell. It's not very complicated, term.
Yeah, I understand. So it has really been in the ecosystem. Almost everybody is talking about it. Most especially early last year, everyone was talking about DeFi. Let me hear from you, Coach. How would you, from your own point of view, how would you describe DeFi?
Okay. So basically, what traditional finance does is that you have the banking system that offers its users a customer base, the ability to, and also other parties like borrowing, lending. So centralized finance does just like what my counterpart rightly said. It's just about automating finance using smart. What's obviously once smart contract comes into the equation, it removes central entity. That is the characteristics of TradFi. So basically, it's offering financial services like lending using smart contracts. So much DeFi in a nutshell. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, but I'm not sure where Lee's gone.
Okay. Uh, Hi, Philip. Can you still hear me?
Yep, I can still hear you loud and clear. Now, I think we maybe will continue this on. So you're exactly right. DeFi utilizes smart contracts, and that's essentially how it works. So I think we'll continue on the show now that even though Lee's gone. I think the next question he was going to ask, what are some of the potentials of DeFi? So I'll let you begin on this, and then I'll cover my point of view.
Mm.
I'm not sure if I can get my camera on, but we'll see what we can do. as we get Lee back in the show.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Oh, so obviously DeFi has a lot of potentials. Um, here, and there's one of the beautiful things that decentralized finance has actually, created um, the developing world. Before we even talk about the advanced countries, is the fact that it is permissionless. So, as much as we have a lot of buzzwords flying around in the blockchain tech, buzzwords buzzwords as well, even in traditional finance. So most times whether you've attending conference, or you hear even some of these banks or fintech platforms uh, pushing out the narrative there, one of the things you hear them say is yeah, we are trying to we want to inclusion. And then the next question you ask, what exactly is financial inclusion? If you have financial inclusion means okay, you're trying to capture uh, as many people into financial radar, whether it is a farmer down in the hinterland who needs access to financial services, to for loan or anything of that. uh, they have to pass through the rigors of the KYC AML. They
Yep.
need a physical bank. They need a physical, bank to visit, and then open a bank account, whether it's a savings or a current account. But you know what DeFi does is that pretty much, yes, we understand that you need access to the internet.
Welcome back. So sorry about that. Some technical issues over here. We are talking about our topic is all about DeFi. So, I was trying to get your own point of view on how DeFi works. Please, how do you, from your own point of view, how would you explain how DeFi work? How can someone participate in the DeFi ecosystem?
Okay, so
Okay, go ahead.
yes, I can hear you. So DeFi, like Philip has said earlier, um, It's just the same thing, almost. If in fact it's the same with traditional finance, except that extract removes the central authority in DeFi. So you have banks, executives, and banking network and all that controlling the lending rates. Who assesses accounts from who opens an account. But with DeFi, it's permissionless. It doesn't need most times DeFi. The ethos of decentralized finance is permissionless and decentralized. There are several ways people can, anyone can tap into, the opportunities centralized finance offers. But I would like to, maybe pause there, and maybe Philip wants to add a thing or two about that.
I would like to get let's look from its potentials. Philip, I would get your point of view from potentials. What are some of the potentials of DeFi?
Potentials of DeFi. So this is great that you asked, Lee. So some of the most promising things are the applications built within the DeFi ecosystem. There's simply availability of these platforms that for instance, we could go into decentralized exchanges, similar to the one that I'm representing, Spartan Protocol, which utilizes new ideas from many popular varied aspects of other DeFi protocols. So these are like Thorchain, Bancor, Uniswap, and Veda Protocol. The opportunities, they're really endless, and it can be programmed within a smart contract, which is the fundamental way DeFi shifts from big banks to becoming a more permissionless way to become sound money. And this sort of shifts the way we interact with forms of currencies, removing the intermediaries of those in a permissionless manner. So DeFi makes it all possible and permissionless. And some of the things that we do provide outside the scope of your traditional DeFi platforms, it is a very special ecosystem, because I'll try to touch on a little bit more detail later on. Is that it incorporates those new ideas other than outside of your traditional platforms, providing liquidity through pools, the ability to swap and trade, DAO governance, and things like we offer synthetic assets, which is a great financial instrument which is widely used today. So there's so many potentials out there, and I only named just a few. You could even go back into prediction markets, which also fit in the DeFi category. So it's such a large, widely used space to cover all of DeFi in a one segment are the potentials. It's essentially a bottomless pit. It's endless, because whatever a smart contract can do, you could probably do in DeFi.
Yeah. So, there have been a lot. I know early last year, there have been a lot of discussions. DeFi, people are talking about DeFi, decentralized finance, and all the rest of them. Just towards late last year, it's as if no one is looking towards DeFi. Many people are now looking at metaverse, NFTs, and the rest of them. Let me hear from you. Do you think the time of DeFi has passed, or DeFi is just at the beginning stage? What would you say?
Okay. So obviously there are a lot of hype around the metaverse, NFTs, quite interesting concepts out there. But like I always like to put it, a lot of the hype we see around the metaverse today, they've been there. They've been there for a long time. It's just that there are always phases with which things get promoted, and then things technology starts cashing in. Uh, we've always had a reality, augmented reality. But with heightened interest around the metaverse, and then you have the likes of Facebook rebranding to Meta. This made it look like, okay, everything is all about metaverse, such that the Merriam Webster, and then of course the interest around the the non-fungible token sector, the NFTs. Whether you're looking at the body yacht club or you're talking about the crypto punks or top shots, yeah, they are quite interesting concept. But DeFi, as it is like the underlying framework with which many of these things work. So, why are people interested in NFTs that has large applications even in the metaverse sector today? It's because of the potentials that the smart contracts can give decentralized applications. So we're still very much early in DeFi. So let me put it this way: I like to say there are a lot of people who think, oh, yeah, you have the likes of Olympus, DAO, that introduced the bond, liquidity, and which everyone has begun to call DeFi 2.0. You still have, we still have, quite the cross-chain interoperability among, protocols or dApps is still very much new, and that's why we still see a lot of vulnerabilities where you see hacks. These are all but signs to show that the sector called DeFi is still very much young. There are improvements still ongoing, iterations are happening. What you can do with DeFi, as long as the traditional finance or the TradFi sector uh, is not able to offer what DeFi is offering its users, whether we're looking at retail users or institutional players. As long as DeFi still has better offerings, DeFi will continue to grow. So we are still very much early, and we have negative interest rates in the TradFi sector. I mean, you keep your money in the bank, and they basically say, okay, we are going to charge you for depositing money in the bank, but DeFi flips it right. You can provide liquidity, you can stake, you can lend. I mean, the lending rates in DeFi sector, dwarfs what in the traditional finance sector. So DeFi is just starting. We've not even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah, thank you very much. Talking about staking and all the rest of them in DeFi, let's look at why people are rushing towards metaverse, NFTs, and the rest of them. I see there are much potential and opportunities in those sectors. Let's look at what are some of the innovative and wealth creating opportunities in DeFi. Philip,
Sure, I'll touch on this.
what
And
would you say?
some opportunities are obviously some as Victor described, with the liquidity incentives as such as just providing liquidity, and we haven't really scratched the surface on DeFi, so we're actually really early in this space. We are under a $2 trillion market cap in terms of cryptocurrencies now, and providing liquidity is probably the main theme, because DeFi being such a new ecosystem within the whole blockchain space, it's growing rapidly in terms of its total value, and we need more capital to go into these platforms to fuel the future economy of things. This is the decentralized economy that we're fueling, and this is why we're seeing such high returns, because this is the interest that we're seeking, and the opportunities are in DeFi. They'll be around for years to come, but I don't think we'll see these kinds of opportunities in the future, like some of the kinds of the APYs that we can get. So in terms of liquidity providing, it's a very big strong point to take a little bit of risk, look at some really good DeFi platforms, and offer liquidity. Another thing you could, the opportunities are such as trading. So there's such a high volatility within the crypto market that, trading is one of the best strategies, and hodling to the moon. And borrowing and DeFi as well. So this is a major component of how blending works and borrowing. So you borrow and you earn a yield, and the lender earns a yield on the borrowing. So saving too. So locking your way tokens in a smart contract. So not necessarily providing liquidity, but A similar means, these are things that fuel things that are futures and back all these instruments that we want in DeFi to make a fantastic ecosystem we want to create. It's fully decentralized, no big banks, no big no big people to control the money and charge you to control your money. It's freedom to the people, and this is what we want to bring back.
Thank you very much for that. It will still this still okay talk show live on Extra TV. We're talking all about DeFi. It has really been an interesting discussions. I've been able to look at what DeFi is and how it works and the rest of them around DeFi. So our audience, if you have questions, please do well to drop them on the comment section. Very soon we'll be getting to that segment. We'll be able to be picking questions from the audience. I just have a few questions here before we get to that segment. So just drop the questions. I will be getting to that segment very soon. So let me look at what are some ways you're making things in the blockchain and crypto ecosystem?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I'm head of content at Advanced Blockchain. And so what that means is basically I oversee the kind of content, whether it is static or text content or multimedia, um, across several of the projects that we incubate in Advanced Blockchain. So I'll give you an instance. We are more cross-chain focused. One of our flagship products in Advanced Blockchain is composable finance. So what does composable finance do? It's all about it wants to push the cross-chain capabilities of DeFi, further. We like to say we are pushing forward. We are pushing forward towards an industry that we become absolutely blockchain agnostic or blockchain agnosticism. Simply put, if I'm using WhatsApp, the end user doesn't want to know what happens at the back end of Facebook. I just want to post my pictures. I just want to tap like. I want to comment without really knowing if it is JavaScript or Flutter or any of those back end technology running behind those applications. So if you look at blockchain, the blockchain ecosystem, we have more chains, whether it is chains or layers, coming up every day, which is a good thing for the ecosystem. But DeFi, as it is, becomes fragmented or splintered because of the several of these chains that are happening out, that are coming up, and fragmentation leads to what we call siloing of these ecosystems. Yeah, you see, whether you're talking about Phantom, BSC, Ethereum, or even Polkadot, which is majorly where we're building on because of its cross-chain abilities. Now, how do I, contribute to the sector? We push out the narrative. We help, projects, developers, most especially looking to, tap into our cross-chain tech stack, like composable SDK or Mosaic, which is like it's a transfer availability layer that allows anyone to bridge assets or even direct liquidity to their bridge. So we have several bridges out there, whether it is Hop, whether it is Seller, whether it's the EVM ecosystems. You think of them. What Mosaic does is simple. It allows you, myself, so whether it is you, Chenna, or Philip, trying to bridge their assets from one chain to another or from one layer to another, you just do that very easily, super fast, cheap. But at the same time, the bridge also balances itself by also tapping into other bridges to ensure that liquidity is, directed to any particular bridge that is connected to Mosaic. So this is what we do. We also incubate, project like Instrumental that is like a yield-seeking optimization protocol. So one of the capabilities of DeFi is that it allows you to earn yields on your assets. Okay. But because of the siloing of the ecosystem, what if I am, providing liquidity on chain A, and I see a much more, better opportunity on chain B? How do I move it? How do I, immediately transfer my yield, my assets or my LP tokens or position to that chain or layer? You can do this automatically, automatively using instrumental. And then we're also looking at, cross-chain governance, which Philip touched on earlier. We understand if you look at and curve wars that are out there, you understand that really what most majority of the protocols out there are fighting for is this TVL, to value locked. As long as you have enough liquidity on your platform, you'll be able to get best quoted price and offer better opportunities. What I want to swap my assets, I can do that very easily. So what's
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you because of our time. Let me hear from Philip. What are some of the ways you're making contributions?
All right, I'm really glad you asked this question, Lee. So, as adoption grows, there's lots more people that have fewer knowledge in the space, and I'm finding that they require a lot more education. And there's an intermediate need for people to learn about DeFi and teach them how to utilize the benefits of the protocols without actually trading. So a lot of people buy coins and buy cryptocurrencies, but they don't actually utilize these platforms, and they're missing out on these great opportunities. And this is why we build a community-run platform to teach people and educate people that this is where you can start. And by having a fair launch, we formed an idea to create a protocol which was based on the amount of misbehavior and misconduct happening within the space. So there's a lot of risk when it comes to cryptocurrency with the classical degen and scams and rug pull behavior that's going on, especially in DeFi, and it's really sad to see. So we created like a complete platform with no airdrops or token sales, no private sales, or even a team allocation. So no one gets paid, not even a treasury allocation. It's 100% community. And by teaching people, knowledge is power and education is key. This is something, offering information, and information should always be free. Like education, growing up, you can go on a Google search and Google away. And by fundamentally fueling your own knowledge, and we helping people to do so in a way that a community can be an ecosystem and thrive, similar to other coins that have communities and ecosystems. We promise to their community. We're fulfilling our promise to our community by educating them in a mannerless light. Everyone here has helped everyone. It doesn't matter on your current skill set in the cryptocurrency space. I came from very few background knowledge, and you could get involved in creating a project in absolutely any way. And this is what I love about crypto, is that you don't have to have any skills. So I came onto this project, Spartan Protocol, just go banging a drum and dressing up in cosplay. I was really good at cosplay, and I got into just that kind of thing as a community aspect through the expression of making some content for the community, fueling that ecosystem. And this is a way that you can make a contribution is just by participating. The act of participating. You don't have to have a huge mindset to really change the space. By being there, you're just making huge change.
Yeah, it's very nice to see how you guys are making contributions in the ecosystem. Let's look at, we've been able to look, because of this discussion, we've been able to look at what DeFi is, how does it work, the potentials of DeFi. We've been able to look at how one can create wealth and other innovations around DeFi. Let's look at, these are the good side of DeFi. So let's look at what are some of the challenges and risks associated with DeFi. We see there have been some projects that liquidity got hacked and all the rest of them. So what are some of the challenges? Let me start with you, Philip. Some of the challenges with DeFi.
Yeah, so as I touched on before, there's quite a few scams going out there, and a lot of vulnerable new retail investors in this space that are interested. So you have like all kinds of shifty behavior. So IDO scams, getting in early on investments, we know that's a good thing, but some people take this to the advantage, and they offer a promise of a product or a platform, and they generally don't launch an actual promising smart contract. This is where we go back on the saying in the space: don't trust, verify. So this it all comes down to risk assessment and hedging your risk. I look at new promising IDOs and platforms that come out, and then I find out the people who are running behind them, and if they're truly authentic, you need to assess, ask your questions, and just the similar kind of scams are, and the potential for misconduct within the space. Obviously, another potential risk would be exploits. So not all smart contracts are programmed in a more secure manner. This is why we have things like audits. And this is where a third party, intermediary party, comes and checks the smart contract and audits and checks our code. We also pay even community for bug bounties. So you have a reward for people, hackers, white hat hackers, to come and test our code. And if they find something wrong, then they get a payout. And this is a great way for people to extend on their opportunity, as I touched on earlier, to contribute to the space is by performing a malicious thing that otherwise you would not have been able to do, able to help the ecosystem grow. So there's many ways to really approach DeFi, but there's definitely some of the risks that can be involved.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me let's see. He been able to, Philip have been able to mention some of the challenges and risks associated with DeFi. So, what are some of the ways to avoid or overcome all these challenges or risks that Philip has mentioned?
Okay, so I think Philip did. Philip explained very well. The risks. You have like a smart contract risk. I think even Vitalik Buterin mentioned it, that if we underestimate the risk of smart contracts, especially in DeFi, and then you also have there's this anon culture that is pervasive in the crypto sector, especially now in DeFi. You have projects that can just launch, and then you don't know the team. They are all anonymous. Yeah, maybe that is borrowing, taking a cue from, the likes of Satoshi Nakamoto. But beyond just that, that also in itself is being abused. Crypto in itself is pseudonymous because with your wallet's address, nobody easily knows who it is, except they begin to employ tracking technology to really begin, but to pinpoint or to slap a profile to a wallet address. That in itself makes it pseudonymous. But I think one of the ways with which we can improve this or solve some of these problems is you really need to projects that are building in this space. We have stakeholders who are putting their reputation out there to build, and then you have some guys from anywhere or anyone from anywhere just with the intention to rock pool investors. People put their money in. What do? They pool liquidity, and then we saw that in Squid token. I think there's a coalition that needs to be built in this space. I understand this space is all about decentralization, but it does no one any good when we have several scams out there. Not to even mention the hacks that happen with bridges. So what are the solutions to that? I think for me, I think cross-chain governance is very important. Yeah, we have atomic swaps, but I think cross-chain governance, because atomic swap has not really, moved the way we would expect because of, evolution in that technology. But for what we have now, we can explore that even further. If several applications are being, you have the like of Sushi Swap or multi-chain thereabout that are sharded across different chains and layers. Um, there should be a there should be a kind of cross-chain governance to also tackle issues like this, when there are hacks or maybe tendencies for 51% attack. I'll just give like a very few scenario. In composable finance, we are pushing out bribe protocol. Beyond just the hack, governance is being hijacked. I'm sure you would have seen or you would have heard where a protocol is hijacked. This is another risk of DeFi that we are not really taking seriously yet. It is decentralized, which means no single party should be able to have an overwhelming influence on it. It should be spread. Now, if one person, I saw that happen with Compound, is it Compound? Justin Sun, just took did like a governance attack on Compound. He's done that before with Steemit and all that. So I think we should begin to take cross-chain governance seriously. And the reason why it has not really flown or well and having people participate is because the whales are actually controlling how governance work in most of these protocols. So if you look at the financial primitive, yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to cut it short because of our time.
Yeah.
Very interesting points there you're making. Sorry for that. So we got into the very interesting segment where we take questions from our audience. So if you have questions, please do well to drop them on the comment section. We'll go for a very short break. We will return. The next segment will be for questions from the audience. We'll be right back. Just stay with us. Welcome back to the show. It's the OKS Talks live on Coins Extra TV, CNETv. So today we've been talking about all about DeFi. So it has really been an amazing discussion so far. We have two guests who have been doing much justice to this particular topic. A very interesting and insightful discussion it has really been. We got into that segment where we take questions from our audience. So we have some questions here coming in. Let me go through some of them. It sounds like DRIP. I don't play the 1% game. Okay. This one is just comments. Ugochukwu, what do you think about most Nigerian projects? Nigerian projects doing it to DeFi? So this to you, Ugochukwu. Kenneth Jones.
Yeah. So I think Nigerian projects, we have quite a few of them that are doing well. I know about Design Finance. Um, it's doing well. I know about a few others. Um, what, what I would just say about Nigerian projects about DeFi is that uh, we should understand that we're early. The technology itself is early. DeFi is still in its nascent stages. So it shouldn't just be about creating meme coins, or there are real use cases. Philip here talked about synthetic assets. I mean, there are quite a lot that we can do in DeFi, and we have a lot of problem here that we need to solve, especially even our financial sector. So we could employ some of this permissionless technology, and begin to apply it, and I'm sure quite a lot of people are interested. And but we can start from the basics, because you wouldn't want to veer into what is complicated. For DeFi projects here in Nigeria, I think they can start from the basis. What is the
Okay.
easiest problem they can solve, and begin to apply that.
Okay. Thank you. Another question from again, Kenneth John. Um, what do you think DeFi rules for metaverse? Philip, maybe you can take that. What do you think DeFi rules for metaverse?
Sorry, the question was, what do you think DeFi was for MetaMask?
Yes.
So
No,
for MetaMask, the wallet,
no, no, no.
um,
I
Metaverse.
think
Metaverse. Metaverse.
as in
Metaverse. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So DeFi for the metaverse opened. That makes more sense now. DeFi for the metaverse opened up, a whole lot more new opportunities. Obviously, we have now crypto games, blockchain games. Now they have their own separate little economies, and decentralized finance makes it more possible by having these separate economies and levering them in a way that they can be financially, you know, um, if their own economy. So when you look at they're like a different world. So you look into metaverse. This is an augmented reality, and to utilize the decentralized finance tools that we have available through smart contracts, we are able to essentially create a new economy through a metaverse world. And this could actually be a future way that time proves the way that we actually structure our own economy. Just through an augmented reality and metaverse environment, we are able to interpret how we can actually improve our own economy just from testing a virtual economy. This is one of the fantastic tools of crypto, being experimental as it is. But
Okay.
even staking your NFTs, we could go down to the line of staking and providing liquidity. So we have our own NFTs in which we are creating our own kind of metaverse game eventually down the line that we're
Sorry.
looking at.
I have to cut you short. Time is very short. Another question here. Seems like from Crypto Love. There's another question here from Crypto Love. It's saying it seems like people are following what pays quick and how the technology impacts. Why?
Okay, if I could say a thing or two around that. Yeah, it's normal. It's human nature to be rational. Um, I wanna delve into what would give me better gains. If I see a yield seeking position uh, at point A, and I see a better one at point B, it's simply if you saw what happened at the DeFi summer of 2020, where Sushi Swap Vampire attacked Uniswap. It's just human nature playing out there. So it's normal, and that's why you have the curve words, you have the gauge weights. Everyone is big. Everyone is fighting for their pool to have enough emissions, which incentivizes liquidity providers, and as liquidity providers are incentivized, the pool is the pool is stable. More swaps happen there. LPs get more funds. So I think it's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. But just apply caution. So you don't get burnt. You're not lured into scam with high APY. Look for it. If it's too good to be true, it's not true. Yeah, that's just it.
Thank you very much. Another question here, John. Please drop more light on DeFi. How do one join? I think we've talked about that.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
do you
but
mind saying something brief about it? Just briefly.
yes, I can just say 18 or two, and then Philip can add to it. So you can stake, you can lend, you can provide liquidity. Yeah, these are the easiest way to participate in DeFi. You don't need $1 billion or $1 million to even be a liquidity provider, but just understand that okay, if you are more conscious about your funds, then you want to do that on a chain that doesn't request you to pay so much gas, so much amount in gas fees. Maybe you do that on Polygon or any of the layer two, or even Phantom, or any EVM ecosystem out there that is cheaper, or even Polkadot. Yeah, that's what I can add. There are several ways, but for the sake of time, I'll just allow Philip to add to it.
Thank you very much. Another question here, Daramola Olamide. What is DeFi? We've already asked this. Maybe Philip, 1 minute, I'll just highlight what DeFi is.
Yeah, so we covered this earlier in the show, but
Yeah.
DeFi is sorry.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, we covered this earlier in the show. So DeFi is basically short term for decentralized finance, and it uses blockchain and smart contracts to eliminate the need for any trusted entities and facilitate the digital relationships. And it's pretty much all crypto. It removes the need in intermediaries for financial institutions. And I did speak about on earlier in the show how the DeFi was often referred to as open finance. We're going to keep. I'll keep it simple, like in explaining what DeFi is, because you don't really need to know a lot about the origins of DeFi and everything else, but it's pretty much that concept there.
Thank you very much. It's a very interesting discussion. It has really been. This is how far we can go with questions from audience. So we're also rounding it up here on the show because our time is fast spent. So I'll just get a few words from you gentlemen. Let me start with you, Philip. Just a closing remark in 1 minute, please.
Yeah, so I really appreciate being on the show, Lee, and it was great to talk about crypto education on how people can benefit from the ecosystem that we are trying to develop and build all together as a community. Crypto is for everyone and by everyone. Now, if you still want to get involved and you have concerns, then definitely check out Coin News Extra, and I recommend checking out Spartan Protocol and joining one of our Telegram channels or socials, asking any questions. If you need guidance and any light, there's plenty of free information online as well. Just be careful, don't trust, and verify. This is a new space. And I wish you all the best. If you're watching this as an investor, I wish you the best, and I hope you have prosper and lots of wealth to come.
Thank you very much. Let me get a closing remark from you, Ugochukwu.
Yeah, thank you, Chinna, for having me and the Coin News Extra team. So I'll just say DeFi is still very much in its early stages. There is still ample opportunities to get in. I don't think the train has left you behind if you're just trying to join. And then if you're in DeFi already, so I think you can explore more. Have an open mind. It's not all about price. It's not about the moonshots they're out there. It's about, I think it's about the technology. What can you do? Lending, staking. Be careful how you assess these protocols. And we do a lot from where I'm from, composable finance. So you can just check it out, composable.finance. We are building cross-chain, technologies. We are leveraging, Polkadot and, Substrate technology because of its, interoperability ability. So I reckon you to check us out and, listen to Coin News Extra more. They've got quality, content coming out there. And thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us, and also thank you our audience who brought us joining us today. You know how we do it. This show comes your way every Saturday, 8 p.m. West African time. We are coming your way again next week with another interesting topic and amazing guest as well. Thank you very much. You can follow KS Africa across social media, Twitter and Telegram at OK. Also follow Coin News Extra TV, CNETv across all our social media handles at CNETv1. So thank you very much and have a blissful night. Bye for now.